Mr. John Oster, and after Mr. Oster, I'd like to hear from Mr. Sujata Patel.
Thank you. Board Member Zaragoza, Pastor Bethel, General Manager of Farming, thanks for the opportunity to testify. My name is John Oster. I'm the Director of Local Environmental Justice Oregon. I've got some of your data here that I want to talk about today because we've been asking the same questions for about 2 months now publicly around the budget. We've been working on the budget issue for about 3 months. The first month we were talking to ourselves because there wasn't a public process to engage with. The budget task force was not subject to open meeting laws, unfortunately. So when we have had the opportunity to engage, we started asking some fundamental questions about the budget. We may not agree on priorities. OPAL prioritizes keeping fares affordable, making service frequent and accessible, and adhering to transit equity principles. We may not agree on the ultimate priorities, but we have to abide by the best information possible. We have to be transparent with that information. And so, unfortunately, for the last several months, we've been talking about this budget crisis, but your own data shows that there is no budget crisis. We're talking about a $12 million budget shortfall according to your public projections. Only 40% of that is the union healthcare costs. That's $5 million. You've deferred $5 million to the next fiscal year because of the timeline of the arbitration. So out of the $12 million that your latest projection shows, $5 million of that, 40%, is attributed to increased healthcare costs for the union. That leaves 60% to other sources. Well, $3 million of that is payroll tax revenue, and you're anticipating a declining growth of payroll tax revenue. That projection was done back in October, when fiscal news was not as great. It was a reaction to some news in Europe that didn't manifest. And we've been asking for the last 2 months to see some updated numbers around the analysis. It's the end of March. We're wrapping up our public participation component of this budget cycle, and we still haven't seen some updated numbers on that payroll tax revenue. The fact is that the last 2 fiscal years, including fiscal year 12 that we're 3/4 of the way through almost, Trimet's used a 4% growth rate for payroll tax revenue, and it's generated $7 million extra per year in receipts. So we've underestimated the amount of payroll tax revenue using a 4% growth rate. This current budget projection is based on a 3.5% growth rate, so a more conservative growth rate. You're estimating a $3 million reduction when the 2-year trend shows that we've gotten a surplus of payroll tax revenue using a 4% growth rate. And most economists will tell you it's probably somewhere in the 5% range. We're not here to tell you what the growth rate should be, but we know that the one that you're basing the budget projection on is too low. And your own document from the fall of 2010.
Thank you, Mr. Oster. That's 3 minutes.
Sorry, I still have about 30 seconds left.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to finish this. Thanks.
Mr. Oster, that's 3 minutes. For the respect of everybody in the room, please, that's 3 minutes. If somebody else in the order
you give me your time? Thanks. So your own budget document from the fall of 2010 shows an 8% growth rate.
Mr. Oster,
No.
excuse me. No, is the person who gave you your time somebody who signed up to testify today?
Yes, last week you didn't have me on the list.
We'll get everybody. We'll get everybody signed up, and everybody will get the time. I'm going to be burdened on this, all right? Thanks.
I understand.
Your own budget documents from the fall of 2010 show that you were expecting an 8% growth rate. So where did these numbers go? You've got this drastic reduction that now shows a loss that frankly is the worst from reality. And we'd like to see some updated numbers on these budgets so that the public can engage meaningfully in this decision-making process. Because right now we're restricted based upon the limited numbers that you're providing. So it's time, it's long overdue. We've asked them for 2 months to see some updated projections. This is 6 months.
Thank you,
sales.
Mr. Oster. That's 30 seconds.
Thank you.